Okay, this video here is going to focus on um, scale note mapping in Rapid Composer. So I created this phrase, very simple phrase, C E G. I'm sorry, C E C down to G back to E. Okay, let me play that. Okay. So this phrase here just has the three notes of a C major triad, right? Okay. Now I've created a second track, and on this track I just have a C major seventh chord playing quarter notes for 2 bars. Okay. On the master track, as you can see, we've only got it's a 2-bar section, and the master track has a 1 major 7 through the whole 2 bars. So there's no change in the harmony at all in this 2-bar section. That's what I want you to see. No change in harmony. Our harmony is a 1 major 7th chord. In this case we're in C major, so it's C major 7th. We're playing quarter notes on each beat. So we're playing the chord on each beat. It's pretty repetitive, but it's going to get the idea across. Okay, so we've got that. Now, what I've done, and I've created, let me delete that. I'm going to take this phrase, this C, E, C, G, E. I'm going to take this phrase and control drag it over to measures 3 and 4. So this phrase is 2 bars long, and I'm just dragging the exact same phrase over. Now what I'm going to do, and here's the key, I'm going to select this phrase, I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to use this option here, use chord, and I'm going to change, I'm sorry, not chord, use scale, okay, and I'm going to change this to E Phrygian, okay, E Phrygian, and I'll explain why I did that. And what I want you to see is a couple things. Number one, notice that above the phrase there's this bracket encasing the 2 bars, and it says in fact E Phrygian. So it's telling us that this phrase has been mapped to the E Phrygian scale. Okay, now remember that this phrase was exactly the same as Piano Basic 1, and we just made a copy and dragged it over. But as soon as I right clicked and changed this to use scale E Phrygian, it jumped up so that the root note of the phrase now is at E. Okay, now I'm going to play these 4 bars. Play it one more time. And I want you to listen and note how bars 3 and 4, this same phrase, which is now in the E Phrygian scale, I mean, it sounds pretty good. There's no wrong notes here. Okay. So the next question is, well, how and why did I choose to make this phrase use the E Phrygian scale? And the answer to that is you're going to find on Google. I'm going to call it up on my iPad here, and I googled Let's see if I can find exactly what I Googled. Okay, I Googled what scale to play over a major seventh chord. Okay, because that's what I have in this second track, this stereo grand track. I've got a major seventh chord. Okay, C, G, B, E. Now, don't I voiced it a little bit differently. It's not closed voicing. It's not C, E, G, B. I just voiced it a little differently to spread it out so it sound a little better. But it is obviously a C major seventh chord. We've got the four notes: the C, the G, the B, and the E. Okay, and it's in root position. Okay. So when I Googled what scale to play over a major seventh chord, I found a website uh, called Hear and Play, actually. And this website gave me a number of scales that will fit over a major seventh chord. So one of them was the E major Phrygian scale. Okay, that's how I got that. I didn't know that. A jazz musician would know that. Uh, and that's, but if you want to solo over a major seventh chord, you can use the E Phrygian. I'm sorry, if you want to solo over a C major seventh chord, you can use the E Phrygian scale to do that, and you're not going to get wrong notes. Okay? All right. And if you go to this website, and you'll find other websites which give you this type of information, they're very common. So you can start searching through and experimenting with this. But this is something that people that play jazz, because they improvise so much, they have to learn like what notes are going to fit over a particular chord. And when I say what notes will fit, basically it comes down to what scale will fit over those chords. Okay? And it turns out that over a major seventh chord, there's a whole lot of scales that fit. Now another one they give is let's see, I think they give a G, bear with me. They say C major pentatonic scale will fit. A G mixolydian scale will fit. So we can try that. Let's try the G mixolydian. I mean, some of these are going to sound more consonant than others. So we go to G, right? And then we go to mixolydian. All right? And let's hear how this sounds. That sounds quite nice. I think I even prefer that to the Phrygian. I really like this G up here. Sounds is that what it is? Yeah, it's a G. So the notes of this mixolydian are G, B, and that matches the seventh, G, B, and then the B jumps up all the way up to a G. I guess it's this interval here, the G jumping up to a B, and then it comes down to a D, and then ends on the B. So this phrase here kind of emphasizes the seventh tone of the 1 major 7th chord. So very interesting here. If we look at this phrase here, we're emphasizing the third, right? We're emphasizing the E. We've got E played twice, and we're kind of moving down to it, right? So we repeat the E twice, which is the third. But in this mixolydian scale, we're emphasizing the 7th of the major 7th chord, which is the B. Okay? So now let's go back to kind of the starting place in this thing. And that is, in order to do this, what we had to do was to create a phrase based on a scale note mapping, not a chord note mapping, okay? So we're not changing, notice in the master track, we're not changing the harmony of these 4 bars at all, okay? What we're doing is we're playing with the scale of the melody. That's what we're doing. Because this top track here is our melody. Our harmony is exactly the same. We're playing the G major 7th chord throughout all 4 bars. But the scale note mapping allows us to play some nice tricks and get these automatic variations by taking our phrase, copying it, and then changing the scale that the phrase is using. So the mapping changes the notes. Okay? So that is, I think that's the big takeaway here, and that's the power of scale note mapping. Now, you can also, another way of using, a typical way we think of scale note mapping is basically transposition. So if we change from C and we change scale to G, we have a modulation to G, we basically just transpose, we drag the notes up to the new major scale, okay? And of course that will work with Rapid Composer, but I think that that's kind of a basic operation that you can do in most DAWs actually. But what's going on here is far more sophisticated, where you can create phrases and then drag them to and then like change the scales to change the actual phrase, and you get musical results. You know, that's the bottom line. I mean, if you don't get musical results, I mean, there's no point, right? Okay, so this is something, you know, you can take a deep dive into this. I just scratched the surface, but I think that this opens up amazing opportunities for taking phrases and basically copying them and changing the scale and getting, you know, really musical results. Okay? All right, I'll see you in the next video.